Today we're stepping into the microscopic garden of the microbiology laboratory. And just like a very delicate botanical garden, the organisms here need extremely specific care, nutrients, and environments if they're going to flourish. So let's explore the beautiful, really highly specialized science of culture media. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the microbial garden, move into general purpose media, then enriched media, selective and differential media, and finally wrap up with liquid and transport media.
All right, Section 1, the microbial garden.
When we think of a laboratory, we usually picture, cold metal and glass, right? But in microbiology, the lab is actually a nursery. So what exactly is culture media? In plain English, think of it as the specific soil that these microscopic plants need to thrive. Officially, culture media are nutrient-rich substances used to grow microorganisms in tightly controlled lab conditions. Because just as a rare orchid needs a very specific type of soil, different bacteria absolutely require specific nutrients, energy sources, and growth factors to multiply and actually make themselves known to us. Just look at this incredible, vibrant collection. We've got this colorful variety of reds, yellows, purples, and greens, and every single color and composition here is a completely different world, specifically designed to invite a certain type of life to grow. It really perfectly sets the stage for the detailed breakdown we're about to dive into. Moving on to Section 2, General Purpose Media. We're going to begin with nutrient agar. This is really one of the most basic and widely used foundational mediums you'll find in any lab. It contains simple but super hardy ingredients like bees extract and peptone, which makes it absolutely perfect for the routine culture of non-fastidious organisms. And non-fastidious is just a polite scientific way of saying they aren't picky eaters. They're quite easy to grow. It sits right at a beautifully balanced neutral pH of 7.4. And here is what nutrient agar looks like in reality. Notice that pale amber, almost beige, gelatinous look. It's completely transparent, calm, and basically just waiting for life to be introduced to it. It really is the blank canvas for a microbiologist. Now, if an organism needs just a little bit more care, we turn to brain-heart infusion, or BHI, agar. This medium provides a slightly richer foundation, mostly because it's made from actual infusions of brain and heart tissues. That extra richness allows it to support a huge variety of microbes, including both the ones that love oxygen, our aerobic organisms, and the ones that actively avoid it, the anaerobic organisms. Which brings us softly into Section 3, Enriched Media. Take a look at this fascinating visual contrast. On one side, we have the striking, bright red of blood agar, which literally contains about 5% sheep's blood. On the other side, we have chocolate agar. Now, despite the delicious name, there's actually no chocolate in it at all. It gets that dark brown, cooked appearance because it's essentially blood agar that has been very carefully heated up to lyse, or break open, the red blood cells. That heating step releases all the internal nutrients, making them instantly available to highly fastidious, or very picky organisms like Haemophilus. So the really crucial point about blood agar is that we don't just use it to feed bacteria. We use it to observe their behavior. Scientists use it to see exactly how bacteria interact with those red blood cells, which is a process called hemolysis. Alpha hemolysis shows a partial, kind of greenish breakdown. Beta is a complete, totally clear breakdown that leaves a transparent halo right around the bacteria. And gamma simply means no breakdown has occurred whatsoever. It's just a stunningly beautiful visual diagnostic tool. Another truly fascinating enriched environment is Loeffler medium. Notice how instead of a flat plate, it's often meticulously crafted into this pale yellow slope, or slant, inside a glass tube. It contains a rich mix of coagulated serum and dextrose broth. This incredibly specific recipe is used mostly to cultivate one particular very serious organism, Corynebacterium diphtheriae.
All right, Section 4, selective and differential media.
Before we dive into the examples, we really need to get the difference between these two concepts straight.
Selective media acts like a strict gatekeeper. It actively selects who gets to grow, shutting down all the unwanted microbes. Differential media, on the other hand, doesn't stop growth. Instead, it differentiates how things look once they actually do grow, usually by causing a really dramatic color change based on a chemical reaction. And some media, amazingly enough, do both at the exact same time.
McConkey agar is a perfect example of this dual action. Visually, it's this brilliant translucent red. It's selective because it only allows gram-negative bacteria to grow, but it's also differential. If the bacteria growing there happens to be able to ferment lactose, it produces an acid that reacts with the agar, and boom, it turns the bacterial colonies a brilliant bright pink. If they can't ferment lactose, they just stay entirely colorless. It's pretty ingenious. Now, let's compare two more of these highly colorful plates. On the left, we have eosin methylene blue, or EMB agar, which has this deep teal color. When E. coli grows on this specific soil, it produces a really distinct, beautiful metallic green sheen. On the right is Hectoin enteric, or HE agar, featuring an olive green base. We use this one to hunt for enteric pathogens. So for example, Salmonella, when it grows here, is going to show up as these striking blue-green colonies.
Building right on that, we have XLD agar, which stands for xylose lysine deoxycholate. This agar starts off as a bright pink or red plate. It's a really elegant tool, specifically designed to isolate Salmonella and Shigella. And it relies on a fascinating chemical reaction. Salmonella produces hydrogen sulfide gas. The agar reacts to that gas and literally paints the center of the Salmonella colonies solid black, making them instantly identifiable against that bright pink background.
Section 5, Liquid and Transport Media.
Up to this point, we've pretty much only examined solid environments, but we absolutely have to understand liquid states too. Contrast these two environments. On the right, we have the solid slope of the Loeffler agar we looked at a bit earlier, but on the left, we see Lauria bertani, or LB broth. This is your classic general-purpose liquid medium. It's a golden yellow, nutrient-rich broth used extensively in molecular biology for the routine cultivation of E. coli. It just provides this nice, free-floating liquid environment for the microbes to multiply incredibly rapidly. Well, this brings up a rather crucial logistical puzzle. If we have a very delicate sample from a patient, how exactly do we safely move these microbes across a city or even a country without letting them die off? Or, honestly, just as dangerously, without letting them overgrow and completely ruin the sample?
The elegant answer to that is transport media. Things like Stewart's, Amy's, or Carrie Blair media. You see, these aren't actually designed to grow bacteria. Instead, they act as a scientific holding pattern. They provide just the right amount of moisture and protection to keep microscopic life completely stable and viable. It's almost like suspending them in time until they can safely reach the waiting scientists back in the lab.
Okay, to summarize everything we've steadily explored today, let's look at this comprehensive chart. We began with general-purpose media, like nutrient agar for routine culture. We then moved to enriched media, like blood agar for that more delicate life. We studied the intelligent gatekeepers, selective and differential media, like McConkey and XLD for sorting and highlighting. And finally, we learned about transport media, like Stewart's for safe preservation. This chart really solidifies all the formal knowledge we've carefully cultivated.